Good evening, students. Next, we are going to see return types. Okay. In the last video, we have seen up to function definition and function call, right? Just a minute. In the last video, we have seen up to function definition and function call, and also one example, right? Now we are going to see return types. Okay. The return statement is used to, we have already seen the return statement in the main function itself, right? That is, if you define a main function along with any other data types except void, then the corresponding main function will surely return a value, right? If you declare the same main function with void data type, then it will not be able to return any particular value, or otherwise the main function cannot return any value if it is declared with void data type, right? So that is what actually return type or return statement. Okay. So we are going to see in detail about that return type. Okay. So the first point is the return statement is used to terminate the execution of your function and returns control to the calling function. This is we have already seen in the previous function examples. That is, whenever a return statement is encountered by a C compiler, then it automatically terminates the execution of the called function, right? Terminates the execution of the called function and returns the program control to the calling function. Okay, that is what the main usage of return statement. And this return statement is usually given in the called function, right? So when this particular return statement, usually the return statement will be given at the end of the called function definition. And when this return statement is executed, then the program control automatically returns back to the execution of the calling function. Okay, so that is what the main usage of return statement. And when the return statement is encountered, the program execution resumes in the calling function at the point immediately following the function call. That is, function call statement is actually placed in the calling function definition, right? So when this function call statement is executed, the program control automatically transferred to the definition or body of the called function, and it stops the execution of the calling function, right? And once the return statement is encountered in the definition or body of the called function, then the program control automatically continues the execution of the calling function from the statement which is immediately following the function call statement in the calling function. Okay, so that is what the main responsibility of return statement. A return statement may or may not return a value to the calling function. So whenever a return statement is executed in the called function, it is not necessary that it should return a value to the calling function. Okay, it is depending upon the concept of the C program written. Okay, so if you want, you can make this return statement to return a value to the calling function, or otherwise no need. Okay, so syntax is return keyword, which is followed by expression semicolon. Okay, wow. So first one is return keyword. This return keyword indicates that this statement is return statement, which is followed by an expression. And here you can give either an expression or any other value, just like return 0 semicolon. Usually, in the definition of main function, if we declared the corresponding main function as an integer function, then it usually returns the value 0. Okay, that is, it will be returning any particular value. Okay, wow. Appo void nu declare panninga appadina, it cannot return any value. அதே இது void தவிர வேற ஏதாவது டேட்டா டைப் கொடுத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா கண்டிப்பா அது வந்து என்ன பண்ணும், it will surely return a particular value to the calling function or to the program. Okay, so here you can give either expression or any other value, direct value to be returned. Okay, so this is what the syntax. A function that has void as its return type. Suppose you have declared a particular function as void type in the sense, then the corresponding function will not be able to return any value to the calling function, or it cannot return any value to the calling function. Okay, so this is what the usage of return statement or return type. Just look at this example. Actually, this is what a program segment taken from the previous example we have seen in the previous video. This example, okay, from this example I have taken only this particular portion, function definition, in order to understand the concept of return statement. Okay, so here what is given, this is nothing but function definition. Here integer is used as return data type. Okay, and next one, sum is function name, and these two are the list of arguments or parameters, and this is what function body. Okay, so here result variable is declared as an integer type, and this result stores the value of a plus b. Okay, sum of a plus b is stored in result, and this particular function returns a particular value, that is the current value of result, or otherwise the sum of a plus b is returned as a value to the calling function, right? This function is actually called in the previous example. Again, look at this example. This function is actually called inside the main function, right? Total equal to sum of num1 comma num2. And this is what function call statement. And this function, that is the sum function, returns the value of the result, current value of result. Okay, and this particular value is actually passed to the calling function, that is main function. Okay, so here only the corresponding value is returned or displayed to the user. Total equal to percentage t comma total. Okay, and this total is nothing but the variable used here. Total is equal to sum of num1 comma num2. Therefore, this particular function returns the value of result, and this result value is actually stored in the variable total, and this value is displayed to the user as an output. Okay, so this is what the concept of return statement. Okay, and one more point to be remembered is a function may have more than one return statement. Till now, we have seen all the functions in the C program which return only one value, that is which uses only one return statement, right? But it is not necessary that a particular function should return only one value or should have only one return statement. It may have more than one return statement, which is what to say, allowable in C programming language. Okay, so in order to understand this particular concept, this particular point, consider the following example. Here, the function name is check relation. Okay, and this particular function is actually defined of integer type. Okay, so if we use any other data types as return data type except void, then the corresponding function must return a value to the calling function. Okay, so here check relation is defined or declared as an integer function. Okay, wow. So here arguments are int a comma int b, and come to the definition part. Here we give 3 return statements instead of 1, right? The first one is return 0, and the second one is return 1, and the third one is return -1. Among these 3 return statements, which return statement to be executed is decided only based on the condition satisfaction, because each return statement is given along with a condition, right? If you take the first one, return 0, if A is equal to B, then return 0 will be executed. If this particular condition is true, then return 0 will be executed. Or if A greater than B, return 1 will be executed. If this particular condition is true, return 1 will be executed. Similarly, if A less than B, then return -1 will be executed. In all the three cases, this particular function returns any of the three values, either 0 or 1 or -1, which is depending upon the condition satisfaction. Okay, so a function may have more than one return statement. Next one, passing parameters to the function. In the last portion itself, we have seen that when a function is called, the calling function may or may not pass some values or parameters or arguments to the called function. It is not necessary. But if the calling function wants, it can pass some values to the called function. Okay, so it is also allowable in C programming language. So if a calling function wants to pass some values to the called function, then it can follow any of these two ways. Okay, that is, there are two ways in which arguments or parameters can be passed to the called function. They are, first one is call by value, which is also known as pass by value. And the second one is call by reference, which is also known as pass by reference. Okay, just by following any of these two methods, the calling function can pass some values to the called function. Okay, and the working principle of these two methods is a different one. Okay, so let us see one by one. Let us see one by one in detail in the next coming videos. Okay, thank you.